you noticed that port banking is so common among Switch players? That's because conceptually, the Switch is just awesome as hell. By handheld standards, it's pretty dang powerful and can run even some of this generation's multi-platform games, given that the graphics take a hit. I want to go over my personal top 10 wanted third-party Switch ports. I kept it a third-party because, this list would just be filled with Nintendo 64 and GameCube games otherwise. I also take the liberty of making this list without thinking too much of problems getting in the way. This is a dream list after all, am I right? I guess the only thing that I want to leave off are Sony games. This would make the list more interesting as I would just go down the line of PlayStation exclusives. The first game on this list is one that's been in my head for a good while now, and that is The Simpsons Hit and Run. This game was a great take on the Grand Theft Auto formula while staying in the universe of The Simpsons. Admittedly though, it's been years since I've last played this game, so I've forgotten a lot about it. If it is ever released on the Switch, it would be an amazing reason to revisit it. I find this one extremely unlikely, as sometimes licensed games like this one, they have logistical nightmares with licensing. It is thought that 3 companies need to sign on this for this to happen: Activision, Gracie Films, and EA. That's not to mention how the game would even sell, because who even knows anymore? One can dream though. I know sports games get a bad rep, and rightfully so. These bastards keep releasing the same thing year after year and charge a full $60 for it. There's one sports game that I just can't help but to play with my brothers every once in a while. That is NHL. I don't really care which one. They could even make one of those stupid Legacy Edition ones that strip content, but I want one on the Switch. Being able to play a quick period or two in the car or on the can, that just sounds like a fun time. EA has dipped their toes with sports games on the Switch, releasing a few FIFA games on it, but I don't think these sold super well though, so I find this one to be pretty damn doubtful. There's also the fact that hockey is not even close to soccer in terms of popularity. There really aren't any good substitutions on Switch for hockey games, so I think that this one would be really neat. I know LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is coming out, but part of me really wants LEGO Star Wars the complete saga on this thing. The game is incredibly cute, and my brother and I have a lot of fun 100%ing this game year after year. I think that the game is enhanced substantially by the multiplayer aspect, which just seems way too perfect for the Switch. Just taking off the Joy-Cons and getting some game time in with my brother during a long car ride, that just sounds like so much fun. Going back and unlocking all the characters, picking up all the studs, beating all the levels, hearing all the characters' death sounds, watching the cutscenes. I probably like this game too much. As for the realistic portion of it, I really don't think it will happen with the new LEGO Star Wars on the way. I think that Warner Bros. Would rather put forth their effort in marketing into the new guy on the block. Plants vs. Zombies is such a classic, which is precisely why it's coming at number 7. Come to think of it, Plants vs. Zombies 2 would also be neat if EA's greedy horse shit was stripped from it. I'm kinda surprised this hasn't happened, to be honest. With each passing year, this just seems less and less likely. If they were to do this, preferably be the PS3 or the Xbox 360 versions. These have 1080p graphics, multiplayer, lots of side modes, and achievements. I don't think tower defense games are represented on the Switch all that well, so this game could stand out pretty well in my opinion. I thought porting this would be easier and more profitable than Battle for Neighborville, but maybe I'm just dumb. Can this one actually happen though? Personally, I don't think it will. Plants vs. Zombies is still a decently big name, but I'm not sure if the original will sell anymore. Speaking of PopCap though, Insane Aquarium would also be neat. I think that it'd be very neat to have any of the Call of Duty Black Ops games on Switch, specifically for zombies. They could even throw it all the way back to World at War and I'd still probably buy it. Taking the original Black Ops games and making them portable sounds like a dream. The absolute dream would be if Black Ops 3 could get ported with Zombies Chronicles, or hell, what if they made their own product that has all zombies maps, but nothing else from the original 3 Black Ops games? They could cut out the multiplayer and the campaigns because I don't even give the most remote shit about those. Out of all the games on my list, I would say this one is just the most doubtful. Either that or NHL. Not quite sure. I know the Steam Deck will be able to run this when it comes out. Yes, these games will be portable, but let's say that thing comes out and the Steam Deck is just a bust. Let's just forget it exists for now. Grand Theft Auto 5 comes in at number 5, although Grand Theft Auto 4 may be cool as well. GTA 5 is the second best-selling game of all time. I'm honestly shocked that this hasn't happened yet, as I think that the pick-up and play nature of Grand Theft Auto would suit the Switch well and would sell it alone. Hop in and quickly rack up 5-star rating to see if you can escape it, and this does happen at some point down the line. Let's hope that it's better than the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. That thing was a piece of trash. I'd happily goof off in Los Santos all over again. I actually think that this one is somewhat likely still. Rockstar is clearly milking GTA 5 for all it's worth. They are releasing next-gen versions for the Xbox Series X and PS5 consoles, so it'd be nice if they at just some point they slipped a Switch port in there. As it stands, I don't believe there are really any great substitutions on the Switch yet. Digimon World clocks in at number 4. Though I would settle for any of the VPET style games like Redigitize or Next Order, these games are very unique to this day. Even other Monster Simulator franchises like Monster Rancher don't have the same gameplay loop. I enjoy the gameplay loop immensely, but I have to admit that it can be pretty grindy at times. This would make it suitable for handheld play. I hacked my PSP to play this game, but it ran like ass for some reason. It was a bit slower than when I played it on my PS1 or PS3. I don't think that this one is all too likely, but I thought that fellow PS1 game Monster Rancher would literally never happen. There is also the fact that Kazumasa Habu, the current director of Digimon Games, has said that a port of Digimon World 1 may happen at some point. I'd really like a chance to play this game on a handheld and have the performance be great. At number 3, I have Banjo-Tooie. It's a rare game now, so I'm going to count it. I know that Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Switch along with some other Nintendo 64 games, but Banjo-Tooie wasn't officially announced. Having both of these bad boys play well on the Switch would make this a 3D platforming machine. I'll also add the addendum, though, that if this does become playable on the Switch somehow, I really hope that it doesn't run like ass. The game dipped down into the 10 to 15 FPS range on the Nintendo 64. It'd be really neat if they ported the Xbox 360 arcade version to the Switch, but that just seems super unlikely. If they could at least put the original version of Banjo-Tooie on the Nintendo 64 expansion pack and fix the FPS issues, it may be enough for me to subscribe to the service, honestly. I almost want to say it's a shoo-in with the Nintendo 64 online expansion pack, but I can't predict these things with Nintendo anymore. At number 2, I have either Psychonauts 2 or the original one. The games are just so delightfully fun and weird. These are story-driven 3D platformers that take place inside of people's minds. The protagonist, Rasputin Naquato, was raised in a circus family that was raised to hate psychics. There's a problem, though. Raz is a psychic himself. Because of this, his moveset takes advantage of both his acrobat abilities and his psychic abilities. The game is just so full of funny writing, great characters, great stories with twists, and maybe, most importantly, heart. The developers love these games for a great reason. At one point, Double Fine said that Xbox Studios is contemplating letting them release it on more consoles, so this may be more likely than I originally thought. At number 1, we have Heroes of Might and Magic 3. It is my favorite game of all time, after all, and the gameplay would lend itself so nice to local play. I can only imagine the amount of fun my brothers and I would have, tossing the Switch around the room for hot seat play. I remember one 10-hour or so car ride, we were so desperate to play Heroes 3 that my brother brought his bulky laptop, and we would pass that around the car. Preferably, I'd like for it somehow to be the original version with the Horn of the Abyss mod, but that's realistically impossible. I'll even take that horrible remaster that Ubisoft did a few years back. The remaster was released on phones, but it was clunky and on a small screen. I think the controls would be pretty nice on the Switch's screen and with an actual controller. I think that this is very unlikely. It might be the most unlikely on the list. I swear, Ubisoft bought that IP to take a piss on it and nothing more. So, that's my third-party list of games that I really want on the Switch. I left Sony games off of there because, on top of them being super unlikely, this would make the list so much more boring. I would have just gone right down the line of Little Big Planet, Uncharted, Ratchet & Clank, God of War. I really tried to think of 10 games from other publishers and developers that would really benefit from handheld play. The Switch's library is very strong so far into its life, but more games can never hurt it. If these games somehow find their way to Switch, as well as Nintendo strengthening their own legacy content offerings, I may never stop playing this damn thing.